What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to this episode of English Turks, where I review your favorite Turkish series with and without English subtitles. And today we are talking about Sefirin Kizi, episode 29. Guys, just finished watching the episode, and oh my gosh, if next week he is under the impression that Loki stabbed his baby to death, I'm going to be really angry. Really, really angry. Please don't tell me that they're going to smear a little bit of blood and Sanja is going to think that the lady's pregnant. Like, obviously, that's not the case. And there's no way you can hide that. Literally, there's really no way that can be hidden. I just, so irritating. The show was a good one. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning. Anyway, so at the beginning of this episode, they're on this whole thing about her being drugged and almost telling what happened to Akin, but it just turned out that she just started hallucinating about other things and didn't tell her what happened. And then, Elvan was able to wake up, get the ambulance over there. Sandra found out, and then they beat up Geddes, and then Geddes goes away, and Akin's sister is still with the crazy. I mean, it's like a revolving wheel. It just keeps going round and round and round. Who knows? And then, Kariman is really suspicious about this whole pregnancy thing. I don't really understand how these writers continue to keep this pregnancy scheme going, but it is quite obvious from the end of this episode that Sanjar is going to believe that, she almost got hurt, and now, I don't know. Will this voodoo stuff work? Oh, please, Lord, let it not work. But right now, he walked into the house and he could care less that Maneshke was on the floor unconscious. His worry was about the baby in her belly. Now, I just don't know if they had time to realize that he was coming unless Jaylon saw him from the window and warned everybody, because as you can see, Loki's body wasn't there. And I don't know, did she slice open his throat? Did she crack his neck? Did she make him go to sleep? Like, I don't know what happened in that moment. I just don't get it. But I'm hoping that he sees that the doctor is there. Like, come on, somebody, give me some leeway. I mean, it just, honestly, I was watching the episode today and I was like, it just makes, like, the script itself make Nare and Sanjay look really stupid. They just look like they're so self-involved that they don't see anything going on around them, and they can't tell the clear stupidity that's taking place right in their face, including Holly says stupid stuff when she's doing stuff. But let's skip over really quickly to Dudu. So Dudu's trying to tell her aunt, stay in that house, because if you stay in that house, then Kavruk is not going to do anything, because he's not going to build a happy home upon your sadness. But honestly, like, she didn't want to be with Kavruk in the first place. All she wanted was a home. She wanted to get an expensive house, and I feel like she fulfilled her part of the deal, so she should still get her house. Like, why not? If the house is in the city center, what is she still doing at the mansion? Take your house and walk away. They've already bought the house for you. It's already in your name. The deed is already done. Like, what is she worrying about? And why is she being offended? The only person offended here is Dudu. The aunt shouldn't be offended because she didn't want to be with Kavruk in the first place. She just did it to work out her part of the deal. And since that part of the deal was canceled, then she might as well just take her part and walk away. But Dudu is trying to drag everybody into her business. And she had the nerve to even go to Elvan and try to tell Elvan how to get the divorce done really fast. But that's okay, Elvan. You take that knowledge and you do you, baby. You get that information and go with it. Now, I can just imagine how the episode's going to start off next week. He's going to run over and he's going to be like, oh my gosh, my son. And I don't know if this whole patch thing, this voodoo thing is going to work out, but I can just imagine Elvan and Nade are going to show up to the house, and then they're going to see the whole ambulance, and then they're going to see him getting into the ambulance with her, and then they're going to show it so Nade will look like, oh my gosh, he's leaving with her, and get upset, and you just know that that's what's going to happen. Now, there's no way that they cannot get her to that hospital and have her sing an OBGYN. One, because when does a doctor have the right to just willy-nilly do whatever procedures when she doesn't even work in that wing? She doesn't even have anything to do with that wing of the hospital. So the fact that she was doing the ultrasound is one thing. Okay, they're not going to the hospital to do that anymore. But how are they going to make it look like, this is a serious injury because she got stabbed in the stomach 3 times? But how are they going to not make, Sandra not want to take her to the hospital? And the doctor shows her face at that house, then they're going to know that the doctor's in on something with them. So I'm going to see how they're going to try to hide that, because they're going to have to take her to the hospital. And even if she gets in that ambulance, they are going to know for a fact that she is not pregnant. So how they walk around this issue, I just can't wait to see. I can't wait to see this. And I'm thinking in my head, because we already know that maybe this voodoo thing is going to work. Maybe it's not going to work. But maybe the guy is going to be like, oh, you didn't tell me that he was already engaged to someone. You didn't tell me that this happened or that happened, because obviously they haven't set the date yet or anything. And I heard about, through Facebook that Nade told him, let's just set the date and do it right away. And it was worded a little weirdly, whoever posted it on Facebook, because I hadn't watched the episode yet. But when I saw that, I was like, okay, but when Sandra suggested it, she didn't want it because she wanted the traditional wedding and she wanted to be normal. And sometimes I feel like Nade has to have it her way or no way. Like, it has to be her way. She has to be the one to say it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if I say we can get married right away, then we'll get married right away. But if Sandra says we can get married right away, she has an issue. And I feel with all situations, it's like that when it comes to Nade, but who knows? I just think, I don't know. So a lot of the stuff about this show is far-fetched. Don't get me wrong. I love the show, but a lot of the stuff is far-fetched. But the funny part about the show was them going to ask for a hand, and no one would agree. The aunt was like, no, I don't agree. Kavruk was like, even if you asked me, I wouldn't agree. And then Sanjar, so funny, just went over to his daughter because he knew for a fact his daughter would agree. And I think she's the right person to ask anyway, because she's the one most closely connected with her mother, no one there was blood relative of hers except for Melek. So, it just made sense that she would be the one to give her mother away, and she did, and so they got engaged. I just think it's ridiculous. Why? People are just really selfish in this series. Every single person in this series is super selfish. I'm trying to think of one person in this series that is just not all about themselves. If you guys can name one, let me know in the comments. And just thank you guys so much for listening. I definitely enjoy doing these podcasts, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye. Thanks for listening to this podcast. We hope you enjoy it. Feel free to subscribe to this podcast channel, and also feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we post videos there. And if you'd like, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where we post all our social media updates. Talk to you guys soon.